Well, a happy Monday to everyone, and thank you for joining me, Christopher, as we wind down with the New York Times Crossword. Today, we are having a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc from the German Weinband. It's called Richtig Lecker. It's like right delicious or very good, right? So it's exactly what you'd expect. Green tree fruit, freshly mown yard, a little bit of sulfur, but also some citrus. But what a clean finish. Didn't get any of the mowing grass or the sulfur in the actual sip. Okay, so what do we got? Let's pull up our Monday grid for us to jump into. Get this up correctly, and let me just hit play. Here we go. What do we got in store for us today? Is this going to be a crazy Monday, or is it going to be like, oh, this is normal, too easy? So, little spheres in a pod. I'm assuming these are going to be peas, just to start off with. Language in Pakistan is Urdu. Interesting language, Urdu. Made up of a lot of different languages. Very, very much a lot like English is in many, many ways. Let's see. Contented cat sound. I'm going to go with a purr because I can't actually replicate that sound. Mayor Adams of New York. Eric. Oh, this is interesting. Got an RC down here. There's something's wrong, or we've got an RCA something, an RC Cola. Let's see. Former stadium for the Indianapolis Colts, and that's the RCA Dome. Never been there. Not necessarily a fan. Just more crossword stuff. Crosswordies. Where silt builds up to create a delta. So that's clearly a river. Upper hands in competition. So maybe advantages. And let's see. Can't use the mouse or I'll screw it up like I always do. Fine leathers. It's probably suedes. And then for some reason I had in my head just now that it would be something to do with the suet or something. I don't know where that even came from. So river clearly. Go bad would be rot. Oh, rot. Muscles worked on a pull day. Well, this reminds me of ILS syndrome. Imaginary lat syndrome, where you get those guys that walk around with their arms up, but there's like no reason that their arms need to be out. But they got big lats, but they don't. It's called ILS. Invisible lat syndrome. I think those are the latissimus dorsi, but my wife's the actual healthcare giver in this room. I'm the enemy healthcare administrator. Let's see. Muscles worked on all that. So I'm going to put in lats now. Getting them lats in there. De Armas of the 2022 biopic Blonde. And I think that's Anna de Armas. Ha ha ha. Fleecy boot brand. Okay, this is UGG, so that confirms my suspicion. This might be just laugh. That's an odd clue. Hidden motive may be if that's Anna, like I think it is, and that might be an angle. What angle are you coming around here with, man? Greeting that originated on the Indian subcontinent. Oh, gosh, I know this. Actress close. Glenn. Just rewatched her in The Big Chill recently. Jerry was in the States for a few weeks, and I thought I'd watch The Big Chill. Definitely husband material. Well, it's not Christopher, so got an HES something. Greeting that originated. Namaste. I knew that. I knew it. Loan officer, for example. Well, I'm thinking it's a banker, but to confirm and not to run into confirmation bias here, I'm going to put in blame, not blank, and let's see here. So this gives us our banker. So we got a banker in the room. On the grid. So definitely husband material. He's a keeper. I guess there's something to be said for that. What's her name? That lady? That lady? That makes sense. Yesterday we had, I think, the same clue, wasn't it? And it was, I mean, I don't know. Which one is this? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was AAH. I can't remember. Maybe I'm wrong. That could be always the case. Apprehensive feeling. I'm thinking of unease. And crosses the finish line last, say. Oh, well, I might want to put an E here where it's supposed to go. So maybe that's a loser? Photo ops, yeah. It looks like that's going to be a loser. I can't believe that. You can't talk to the guy. He's a real loser. Real loser. So, anyway. Let's see. Calendar divisions. Let's see. Crosses the finish line last, so loses. These are going to be months. And what do I got here? Come into view is always going to be emerge, right? I mean, if you've got the 6 letters and it's come into view, it's going to be emerge. Just been doing that for years. Jim Henson is the one who voiced Kermit the Frog. A role of each angry man in 12 Angry Men, and those were, of course, jurors. Angry about something. Stick like glue. Oh, I wanna stick on you, or something like that. I can't remember. Let's see. Like many small, powerful airplanes, those are twin engines, and they have their own PPO. Single engine's not a twin engine plane. Pilot license. Extra attentive coddling for short. Coddling, I like that. TLC, tender loving care. And a billfold looks like a wallet. Of course it does. I mean, it's like spelled out for us 2/3 of the way. All we got to do is just fill in the blanks there. This stuff's really easy. Oven warm sandwiches look like melts here. Let's see. Expedition for wildlife viewing. That's a safari. Other halves, no more. Other halves, no more. Okay, got it. Match before the final would be the semi. I don't know what this is up here. X or Y number line in graphing is an axis, so I guess these are X's. X's, so makes sense. Other halves, no more. We are X's. I hope I'm never saying that myself. Elaborate celebration would be maybe a fest. Handy oven, also a fete. A fete. So that makes sense. So instead of it's now I see. Skips over as vowels. I think this is to elide. Unit at the gym, maybe a rep, I think. This is so easy. 401k alternative for short is an IRA, I'm assuming. And do we have an Erie here? Ooh, yeah, we do. We have a spooky caught up. Spooky. Petty quarrels are probably going to be spats. Peevish state's probably a snit. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, sounding overconfident, which means I got a huge failure coming at some point. I'm paying for this round, or a literal hint to this puzzle's theme. I'm assuming this is going to be drinks on me. And oblong tomato variety. One of Jerry's favorites is the Roma. She actually loves tomatoes. I tolerate them. There's a lone one on Texas's flag. Okay, first of all, look at how Texas is spelled here in the possessive. Let me just say, as a descriptive linguist, a grammarian, you put the apostrophe S on it. It's not a problem. S apostrophe, it's just lame. Texas. Texas apostrophe S. Texas. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I feel like I'm Joe Biden all of a sudden. Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with Amtrak. Amtrak's great. It's a great train to ride. It's Scranton, Pennsylvania, man. We build Amtraks. Yeah. But the point is, S apostrophe, right? And then another S, I think. But what do I know? I don't know. I'm just a linguist and a rhetorician. Henry VIII and Family. These are two doors. Great series from that one guy that basically ruined himself by getting in trouble on airlines over and over again. Brandon Reese Myers or something, wasn't it, baby? Yeah, Brandon Reese Myers. Apparently got drunk on an airplane. Status Quo. Most Super Bowl MVPs for short. Yeah, I go with that. QBs, quarterbacks, right? So low key, be subdued. And let's see. Start of many a diary entry. Never had a diary in my life. When you go back to this star here, before I went off on a tirade about freaking showing position. No joke. I guess this is I kid you not. And what we got here? Tyra Banks is popping in onto the grid. She's bursting out onto the grid today. Control-Alt-Delete. And what now we got up here? Sherlock Holmes' sister on Netflix is Enola. And I have an aunt-in-law whose name is Nola. So it's close. Ewo, and then more up to date would be Newer, and Thimble or Scottish Terrier in Monopoly is a token, and so be subjected to as treatment. I'm thinking this looks like it's spelling itself out as undergo there, so two-person acts would be duos, but seems like it should not be acts, two-person act, and then maybe a duet of some sort, but duos is fine, man. Canceled as a mission is a no-go. Alternative to a watering can, I think, is a hose. So what do we have? Okay, Salt Lake City's home is Utah. And here we go. We're rounding out the stretch. We actually did a complete counterclockwise motion today for some reason. So I think mañana is hasta. But I got to spell it right. See, outspoken. Soccer great Mia Hamm. So then I guess this is going to be allowed, right? So balm ingredient is probably going to be an aloe. And, oh, wait a minute. Where the silt builds up to create a delta. River mouth? Never heard of that. I've heard of the mouth of the river, but never a river mouth. This calls for one. I'm going to have to get over myself. Boy King is Tut. If you never read his, anything about that guy, it had to be awful. And old coin of France is, of course, the sou. And then we have allowed for outspoken, and I'm assuming we didn't miss anything somewhere. Maybe we'll get a good reply from Bob. So speaking of Bob, how we do, Bob? $12.14, which tells me if I had just been in a hurry and I wasn't talking to you, we'd have been through this in about 3.5 minutes. It was child's play. But sometimes those are fun. Watch tomorrow. Watch tomorrow be a Tuesday. I'm going to think, child's play. And it'll be like some Saturday from hell. If you get bored and you want to really challenge yourself, use your app or go to the New York Times online or whatever. Go to the archives and go back in history. Say to your birthday or something like that and try to do the crossword then. I was born on a Wednesday, not typically very difficult days, but I was born during the Nixon administration, and I'm going to tell you something. Nothing relevant, topical, nothing is a clue. Did Faye Dunaway play in that movie? It's bad, right? So it'll challenge you. But just going back 6 or 7 years, you'd be surprised how apart we grow from our puzzles. So, in the meantime, as always, learn to say it in every language you can. Auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, arrivederci, adios, aloha, ciao, shalom, masalama, annyeonghaseyo, and see you next time. Be well, be safe. I'm not your safety manager.